Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto has yandere harem in high school DxD. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Pheles Luna and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. It's funny. He thought he was doing the world justice. Bringing peace to the world. Just as he wanted. Just as his godfather wanted. Just as the first sage wanted. But this war. It taught him a lot. A clash of ideals is all that it is. Whoever has the means to forcefully make those ideals bear fruit is the winner of war. That's all it is really. Armed conflict. Unarmed conflict happens all the time. Arguments, civil discussions, disputes, a meeting, the list goes on. He is not so naive to think he has all the answers. He doesn't. He told Pain he didn't have an answer, but he did say that Pain should trust in him to bring peace and figure it out. He should not have said that. Now, after everything he said and done, he is about to die. Naruto arrived at a certain answer. One he was not and still isn't satisfied with, but it just might work. He explained his plan to the Biju, and asked their thoughts. Oh man, were they mad. His plan, seal all the Biju within himself, not as one entity, the Jubi, but as 9 individual entities, the Biju. They were not happy one bit, but at least they would all be individuals. Naruto would take the chakra of all the Bijus within himself. Make sure that the rabbit goddess keeps her hands off their chakra. With Sasuke's and Madara's Rinnegan, he had the highest possible chance of surviving the large influx of chakra. He just had to keep Black Zetsu away, but how to survive was the hard part. Kinda. Sasuke gave him his Yin chakra that the Sage of 6 Paths gave him before he fully disintegrated from an all-killing ash bone. Now he had everything. All 9 Bijus sealed inside himself, 2 Rinnegan eyes, the 6 Paths Yin and Yang chakra, and a hell of a lot of it already, and he had a clone release the infinite Tsukuyomi in his world. So he was good there. Only thing left, take all the chakra, all the power, somewhere else. Luckily, Kaguya opened a dimensional gate large enough to survive her dissolution, and it was closing little by little. Naruto was tired, and he couldn't keep the gate open. He didn't know the technique. So he just jumped through the portal. And in an instant he felt pain. The slight twitch of the eyelids and the slow crinkling of his forehead were the only indication of consciousness fading in before his eyes slowly opened, revealing deep crystal blue eyes. He slowly and groggily rose out of bed before his alarm clock hit 5:45 a.m. He stepped through the threshold of his bathroom attached to his bedroom and got ready for the day ahead. He stepped into the shower and 15 minutes later, he got out and dried himself off. He then walked to the mirror and looked at himself. He saw wildly spiking blonde hair and deep blue eyes. He saw 3 whisker marks on each cheek and some blonde stubble. He quickly got a razor and started to groom himself, shaving off the stubble and washing his face. Once done he smiled, clothed himself in boxers and proceeded to walk back to his bedroom. This was Naruto Uzumaki, a 17-year-old looking man who was preparing to go to school. Once he reached his room he went to grab his academy uniform, black slacks and an orange undershirt under a white button-down and black school blazer with white trim, all unbuttoned and all untucked. It was now 6:15 a.m. in the morning and Naruto now walked downstairs to the kitchen and made himself a rather American breakfast consisting of 2 eggs, some bacon, a slice of toast, and a glass of orange juice. After 15 minutes and finally done with his breakfast, he heads to the door and slips on his black Oxford shoes and heads out for the day. Ko Academy 7 a.m. Finally arriving at his school, the prestigious Ko Academy, he walks through the front gates and heads to a secluded tree between buildings. On side there was the main Ko Academy building and a few hundred feet from that building was another, the old school building. It was dubbed by the students that went there. Naruto did not understand. Sure, Ko Academy had been a girls-only school for the better half of a decade, but even when it recently turned co-ed just this year, why was that building no longer being used? It was still perfectly usable. Well, he knew why that building wasn't being used, but the point still stands. Naruto was just leaning underneath the tree in the shade with his earbuds in while he was listening to some classical music. Chopin's Nocturnes, Op. 9 No. 2 to be exact. Hey, he likes classical music. Sue him. He was roughly halfway through the piece before he felt a tug on his sleeve. Already knowing who it was, he smiles and turns to who had approached him. Good morning, Keneiko-chan, Naruto greets as he starts petting her head and running his fingers across her scalp. Naruto had met Keneiko earlier this school year and had saved her from some less than polite boys wanting to garner her attention. He had intruded on her behalf and told them to knock it off as they had made her uncomfortable. The boys responded that with her being inexpressive in her image that it was fine, she doesn't mind and to fuck off. But Naruto knew better. He could feel Keneiko's emotions and he could feel that she was indeed very uncomfortable and actually becoming pretty nervous. Naruto knew the boys wouldn't listen, so he beat the boys black and blue and gently dragged Keneiko away to the very same tree and proceeded to calm her down and talk to her. While Keneiko didn't show that she was uncomfortable, internally she was thanking the strange blonde-haired boy who had saved was still reeling from the debacle with her sister, after all. After that, Naruto offered to have some lunch with her, and he quickly shared some lunch with the girl. Coincidentally, He had some Anko Dango and he quickly realized how big a sweet tooth Keneiko had and, after confirming further meetups, he had spoiled her with sweets galore. Senpai, Keneiko said in a monotone voice with a small smile, closing her eyes and leaning into Naruto. But most importantly, his hand. Keneiko is a first-year student at Ko Academy standing at 4 feet 6 inches with white hair with 2 long bangs going past her shoulders with 2 black cat-shaped hair clips in her hair, one on either side. She has hazel eyes and has a petite figure. She has a small bust but still noticeable enough to know she hit puberty and is still growing. She was currently wearing the girls' Ko Academy uniform, only without the black shoulder cape. Naruto quickly gave Keneiko a peck on the cheek and a cake pop to enjoy, and Keneiko blushed slightly and smiled as she started eating her snack. Naruto just hugged Keneiko from behind, loosely having his arm around her stomach and his other arm atop Keneiko's head, still petting her like always, and sat at the base of the tree both content and calm in what is usually the morning rush. This had become something of a routine with them. They would usually meet up before school starts at the tree that is subconsciously important to the both of them for the same reason, and would greet each other before calming and comforting each other. Naruto would listen to his classical music petting and holding on to Keneiko, occasionally nodding off on said girl, while Keneiko would be munching on a treat given to her by the blonde and lean into said blonde, both happy that they have each other. After a few meetings with each other after they first met, they decided they liked each other's presence, and got closer. While it wasn't officially said that they were both dating, to them, the actions were enough. They both liked each other and they were both happy, so they didn't need to announce their relationship. Only the hopeful and ignorant boys and girls refused to acknowledge the two's closeness. Say, Keneiko-chan, can I stop by the Occult Research Club after school today to talk with you for a bit? It won't be long. I just wanted to put in a request of sorts about seeing what your club can find about a certain legend of Germany. You know, occulty stuff. Ever since your club had that school newspaper published about the myths in North American culture, I kinda want a project done. Will that be alright with your club president? Keneiko, looking up in surprise at Naruto, and could only respond with I'll have to talk with Bucho about that. We don't really take requests on our projects. No one really cares about myths and legends now, Keneiko explained to Naruto. That's understandable. I was also hoping to take that time to formally introduce myself to your friends, and thank them for looking out for you. Keneiko pouted at having to introduce Naruto to Rias or Akino. She was thinking that with those two's more mature and albeit sexy bodies Naruto would choose to leave her for either Akino or Rias. Almost like Naruto knew what Keneiko was thinking and feeling, which he kinda did, he drew Keneiko closer to him, and tightened his embrace on her, and kissed her gently on the lips. Don't worry Keneiko-chan, I won't leave you. Not for anyone. But Bucho has such an unobtainable beauty to her, and she is bigger than me and sexier than me and, but she was cut off by Naruto, who wouldn't let her get any further. Keneiko-chan, I love you for you, not your looks, not your size, not your quote-unquote lack of sexiness. Granted, I absolutely love how small you are. I can wrap my arms around you and just hold you, and I know you like how I hold you too. I think you're beautiful in your own way, and between you and me, I think you're way sexier. Don't tell your friends that. I think they might get upset at not being worshipped like the rest of the masses do. Oh, and besides I like them smaller, Naruto said as he leaned in with a cheeky grin, kissing Keneiko on the neck and biting her gently. Keneiko for her part was tearing up at the beginning of what Naruto said before blushing a pink hue and trying to hide her face from Naruto, before blushing even more and releasing a silent moan of surprise and delight at the end. Come on Keneiko-chan, we need to head to class now. I'll stop by the old school building after classes today to meet with your club, Naruto said before he stood up, bringing Keneiko with him. Keneiko still had a small blush on her face before she gave a faint smile and intertwined her hand with his bigger hand and walked with him to the main school building, then separating to their respective classes after an affectionate head pat and smile. A boy of average looks muttered out as he was drooling over his fanatical obsession. The boy's name was Issei Haidu, a 17-year-old boy with short spiky brown hair and light brown eyes. One couldn't see what with him sitting down at his desk. He stood at an average height and less than lean build for an athletic third-year high schooler. HM? The boy questioned at the sound of boys and girls getting increasingly louder just outside the classroom. After a few seconds, Issei finally saw just what all the commotion was about. TCH freaking pretty boy, Issei muttered under his breath as Naruto Uzumaki walked into the class and sat 3 rows behind Issei, closest to the window. Naruto had been somewhat of a hot commodity at Ko. The female population all loved him for his looks and regal but carefree attitude, while most of the boys at school hated him for the exact same thing. For the boys, he was the ultimate competition to getting a girlfriend at Ko High. And he is already dating Keneiko-chan too. Ah man, what a thief. I bet he even has fun with Keneiko-chan. Her épée is absolutely perfect, and she has such a nice butt too. I bet he doesn't even know how to treat such treasures of the female form. Issei grumbled under his breath, looking sad then angry then dreamily then angry again. So many emotions in such a short amount of time. Naruto, while sitting a ways away, still heard Issei muttering under his breath about Keneiko, his Keneiko-chan. Well, he'll get what's coming to him, hell. Issei will probably be trying to peek in the girls' changing room for whatever class had physical education during today's break. Wait, didn't Keneiko-chan have PE today during the third year's class break? Hell, looks like I get to teach him and his perverted friends a lesson sooner than I thought, Naruto thought giddily. Looking forward to torturing the poor perverted fools with that last thought in mind, the instructor for the class entered and the session of mind-numbing boredom began. 3.5 hours later, Issei finds himself and his friends, the dubbed perverted trio, at a peeping hole for the girls' changing room behind the bushes. Oh man, guys, we hit the jackpot, Matsuda, one of Issei's perverted friends, exclaimed as he was shoving his face against the hole in the wall that looked inside the girls' changing room. I just found this spot yesterday after school, before I left. I just had to show you guys, Motohama explained as he too was battling with Matsuda for a chance to peep inside the room. Guys, come on. Let me see. You can't be hogging all that creamy flesh in perfect apase, Issei argued with them at the beginning, then started daydreaming again, with a stupid look on his face, and some drool coming out of his mouth. If someone didn't know any better, it would look like he needed medical help. But no, he needs a psychological ward. Oh. It's Keneiko-chan. I didn't know this was her class. Oh man, we will finally be able to see what she looks like in her birthday suit, Matsuda alerted before he shoved Issei and Motohama out of the way of the hole. At that exclamation, Issei couldn't stop his perversion and started tugging and yanking on the bald Matsuda, trying to get a peek at the school's unofficial mascot. As the three perverts were fighting over who gets to look through the hole and see Keneiko in her most unguarded, the whiskered blonde stood behind the trio, emanating silent wrath at the three for trying to peep on his girlfriend. Too late did the three notice the oppressive presence behind them before, fast as lightning, Issei, Matsuda, and Motohama found themselves staring down an angry blonde. So you think it's okay to peek at girls when they're most vulnerable just to fulfill your perverted fantasies? And even worse, you have the audacity to try to peep on my Keneiko-chan, knowing she is taken by another man, and that man being me, Naruto questioned before grabbing all three boys by their shirts and delivering their well-deserved punishments. The three boys made exclamations of surprise loud enough that they were heard by all the girls in the changing room, Keneiko being one of them. A group of girls rushed out of the changing room wearing their Keikoji and Hakama with their own shunai drawn and rounded the corner where Naruto was currently delivering very severe punishment to the perverted trio. They're all yours, Naruto spoke as he dropped all three boys in an unceremonious heap on the ground and rounding the corner to the entrance of the girls' changing room. Then Naruto spotted Keneiko and other girls in various states of undress. Most of the girls screamed and tried to hide themselves from the male intruder while he entered about 2 feet in the room. Having her clothing locker fairly close to the entrance, Naruto easily spotted Keneiko in a half-undressed state, wearing her shorts and a blue bra with white polka dots with her school-issued shirt in her arms, as she looks at Naruto walking closer to her, with a faint blush on his whiskered cheeks. The blush wasn't from him seeing the other girls naked or half-naked, she deduced, because he was only looking at her. Keneiko was deadpan as usual, but with a slight blush on her face and growing ever so self-conscious, just stood at her locker, waiting for Naruto to approach her. Are you okay, Keneiko-chan? Naruto asked with real concern. I am fine, senpai, Keneiko returned in monotone. Naruto smiled and gently took her shirt out of her arms. You look beautiful, Keneiko-chan, but I don't think I want you to be exposed, especially when those perverted buffoons were trying to peek on my Keneiko-chan. Let it be known that Naruto was very possessive of Keneiko, probably a side effect of having so many passionate and territorial chakra monsters sealed inside himself. If any boy that wasn't him even looked at Keneiko in a perverted way, he would step in and scare the eyeing pervert away with just a look. Keneiko really appreciated that fact about Naruto. It made her feel wanted. Loved. Naruto took Keneiko's shirt and spread it out in front of him as if he was going to dress somebody in it. Raise your arms. Keneiko looked confused for a moment, then a look of understanding crossed her face before she blushed and tilted her head down and to the side, not wanting Naruto to see her blush. I can dress myself, senpai. I want to dress you. You don't need to. You're right, I don't. But I want to. Give me my shirt. Raise your arms. Give me my shirt. Raise your arms, Keneiko-chan. Keneiko, seeing that she was getting nowhere, and knowing that Naruto was more patient than her, finally relented. Keneiko slowly lifted her arms straight up, with a blush. Naruto, seeing Keneiko doing what he wanted, grinned and kissed her on the nose before finally dressing her in her shirt. Once more fully dressed, Keneiko felt the heat in her cheeks died down, and she was finally able to realize that Naruto was standing in front of her. In the girls' changing room, Naruto, knowing what Keneiko was thinking about, decided to quash any fears or assumptions she may have had. Sorry I barged in here, Keneiko-chan, but I wanted to see you and make sure you were okay after I dealt with those idiots. Honestly, I'm pretty sure everyone knows we're dating, even if we haven't said it. I mean, what boyfriend wouldn't kick the asses of other boys for trying to peek on their girlfriend? Naruto stated with a self-satisfied grin, both for dating Keneiko and kicking the perverted trio's ass. Perverts. I don't like them, senpai. Their staring annoys me, Keneiko said under her breath. Naruto just smiled at his girlfriend and patted her on her head, scratching her scalp while he was at it. Keneiko visibly relaxed and leaned into Naruto's warmth. It's alright, Keneiko-chan. If they do anything else that annoys you or makes you feel uncomfortable, tell me and I'll beat some sense into them over and over until they either understand or are brain dead. Tell that to the other girls you know too. I'm sure they need at least one person willing to get into trouble to protect their privacy. Might as well be me. Anyways, I just came to check on you. I have to get back to class, and you have to start your class. See you later, Keneiko-chan. Naruto leans in close to her ear. Oh, and blue looks great on you, Naruto whispered to Keneiko before he took his hand off her head and proceeded to leave Keneiko and the other girls to finish getting ready for their P class. Keneiko blushed at what she just heard. Naruto liked what she was wearing. She blushed deeper, before a thought crossed her mind, but leaving that thought for another time. Rounding the corner, Naruto saw the first-year kendo girls still attacking the perverted trio into unconsciousness. Naruto just ignored the pained grunts of the boys and continued on his way. Chances are the boys are going to be found by some faculty staff and brought to the headmaster's office. At least 4 times a week the trio is brought to the headmaster for punishment. Naruto doesn't know what the punishments are, but he thinks that the punishments should be suspension or expulsion. Hell, the perverted boy's actions borders on sexual harassment, and should be brought to the police. That sounds like a good idea, actually. He'll have to call the non-emergency number of the Occult police department after school to see what they can do. He hopes they can actually do something. Naruto just continues walking to the main building, sending an unseen glance at a window on the second story of the old school building, seeing a flash of red. Naruto looked like he was contemplating something for a short time, before a look of determination spread across his face. Yes. He would introduce himself to them. All of them. This will be fun. A young woman with long crimson red hair and a voluptuous figure, blue-green eyes, standing at 5 feet 8 inches and donning the female co-academy uniform consisting of a white long-sleeved button-down shirt with a black shoulder cape and a matching button-down corset, and a maroon skirt with the school's white accents. This was Rias, a 4th-year high school student, and one of the 2 great ladies. Rias is revered by the student body for her stunning beauty and exotic looks, receiving the envy of all girls and the desire of most boys. The crimson-haired beauty walked away from the window she was just looking out of, heading towards a corner of the room she was in, looking deep in thought. She was thinking of the whiskered blonde often seen hanging around Keneiko, thinking up of a way to convince him to join her to stop him. Rias thought this would be a win-win for everyone. Rias would get a new peerage member, and Naruto and her cute little rook, Keneiko, would be able to spend that much more time together. Tada, everyone's happy. See, Rias is a devil, and not just any devil but a pure-blooded high-class devil of the House of Gremory, one of the 72 pillars, a collection of elite pure-blooded devil houses in the Underworld, and the Gremory's heiress. And the mortal enemy to angels and fallen angels. Rias Gremory needs more members in her peerage because she needs to break an engagement to the 3rd son of a pillar house. By force if she has to, and it just so happens that she spots potential in Keneiko's boyfriend. A gamble for sure, but a wager she'd gladly take to free her of her shackles. Akino, what do you know of that boy Naruto Uzumaki? Rias questioned her, Queen, Akino Himejima. Akino is a girl with long cascading black hair put up in a high ponytail tied up by an orange ribbon. She has a very similar figure to Rias, with breasts just slightly larger than that of the crimson-haired girl. The Ravenet had violet eyes and sported the very same uniform Rias did, only with the inclusion of black calf-length socks, and she also stood at 5 feet 6 inches. Naruto Uzumaki, blonde hair, blue eyes, whisker marks, and a very possessive attitude towards Keneiko-chan. He is often regarded as having a noble aura by the student body, and is hated by the majority of the boys, but is loved by the majority of the girls. Though Uzumaki-san does not act or show any acknowledgement of any love the girls might show in favor of peppering Keneiko-chan with affection, they do make a cute couple if I might add. I think I might want to steal him from Keneiko-chan and see for myself just what kind of man he can be, Akino responded to her, King, with a smile on her face, and her hand palming her cheek. Rias just let Akino be with her wandering thoughts about the enigmatic blonde. Whenever she thinks she's starting to figure Naruto out, he just does something that she didn't think he would do, capturing the heart of her cute little rook. Tops that list and further cements Rias wanting to unravel the mystery of Koa's most mysterious student. Rias, still in thought, strips down from her clothes and steps into a running shower built into the corner of her clubroom, the Occult Research Club to be exact, to get ready for the later half of the day. Akino, can you prepare some tea for Sona and I please? We're going to be discussing some business in a few minutes, and Sona is bringing Tsubaki, so I guess prepare 4 cups of tea, please. Of course, Rias-sama. I have also set out a clean set of clothes on the counter just outside of the curtain. Call for me if you need anything else, Bucho. Thank you, Akino-chan. Now how to get Uzumaki-san to visit the club and join my peerage? I could use Keneiko-chan as leverage, but Keneiko-chan definitely would not take too kindly to me using their relationship like that. And there's also Issei. Last I heard from Kiba, Issei has a very slight draconic presence. He could have a draconic sacred gear, but which one? And how powerful? Damn, I don't have enough information on Naruto to take the risk to get him in my peerage. Not yet anyway. Issei will be easy, so I'll have him get in contact with my familiar. Now what to do about those fallen angels? Rias thought with keen interest. Good afternoon, Sauna-san, Tsubaki-san. I hope you two are doing well today. Good afternoon to you as well, Uzumaki-san. We are doing quite well today. What brings you to the student council office today? Sauna questioned. Sauna Shirtorai, the student council president, is a slim young woman with short black hair styled in a bob cut with beautiful violet eyes standing at 5 feet 5 inches. She also wore the standard Co-Academy girls' school uniform and a pair of black full-rimmed oval glasses. Standing to Sauna's side is Tsubaki Shinra, a beautiful young woman with fuller breasts than Sauna and knee-length straight black hair with heterochromic eyes, with a light brown right eye and a violet left eye. Tsubaki also wears the same Co-Academy female uniform while also donning blue under-rimmed square glasses. Tsubaki is the current vice president of the student council and Sauna's right-hand person. She also happened to be Sauna's queen piece. Also, Sauna is only an alias. Sauna Shitori's real name is Sona Citri, second daughter and current heiress to the house of Citri and the Devil's remaining 72 pillar clans. Oh, not much, Sauna-san. I actually came with a proposition. See, I'm sure you're already aware about what happened earlier today with Keneiko-chan's P class and the perverted trio. Sona gave a quick nod. Well, I would like to propose stricter punishments for those three in particular. Honestly, why they're still allowed to attend this school boggles my mind and frustrates me to no end. I recommend at the minimum suspension, maybe even expulsion. Uzumaki-san, I know you do not like those three boys, but seeing as how none of them have actually hurt anybody, I think what you're asking for is a little too much. Au contraire, ma connaissance, those three idiots do in fact present a danger to a lot of people here. Remember, Co-Academy, despite most of its student body being in high school, is also not only a middle school but also an elementary school and college, from 6-year-olds to 19 and 20-year-olds. The age of consent in Japan may be 13, but sexual harassment is sexual harassment. And even if you might not see it as such, it can still be considered bullying. And I don't think you would want the good image of Co-Academy tarnished further. They have done enough damage to the school's reputation as is. No use in worsening it. So I implore you to look at alternate, more severe punishments for those three, because what they do is harmful to the student body and the mental and emotional health of students worlds over. Sorry about that tirade, but I feel it should have been brought up and said as soon as the problem began. I may act like I don't care for anyone other than Keneiko-chan, but that is not true. The health of all people, young or old, is important. Also, I don't want to act all high and mighty. Naruto shows a magic symbol to Sona, which shone in a burnt orange, and Sona only gasped at what she was seeing. But if nothing is done with those three soon, I will take actions into my own hands. And I do not want to get my hands dirty. Honestly, Sauna-san, something should have been done sooner to protect the student body. Sadly, some of the blame lies with me too, as I have been too busy recently to properly inform you of these problems, and for that, I apologize. Good day, Sauna-san, Tsubaki-san. Oh, and before I forget, I will inform you and your peerage of who I am and what I am doing here some other time. I must first introduce myself officially to the Gremry group. But rest assured, I mean no harm to you or anyone here, Citri-san. And with all that said, Naruto turned around and walked out of the office of the student council president, heading to the Occult Research Club to introduce himself to Keneiko's friends. Hey, Keneiko-chan. Ready for me to meet your friends? Naruto asked with a happy smile. Naruto was actually excited to be meeting her friends. He knows he shouldn't be nervous. It's not like they could do anything to him anyways, but first impressions and all. Hi, Naruto-kun, Keneiko responded slightly anxious. It'll be okay. I promise to behave. And here. Naruto took out a box of chocolate Pocky and handed it to Keneiko. To ease your worries. Keneiko just smiled and started chewing on her sweet treat. Naruto always knew how to cheer her up. Keneiko just leaned into Naruto's side as they were walking themselves to the old school building, where the Occult Research Club resides. Smiling down at Keneiko, Naruto slowly opened the door to the ORC. Era, welcome back, Keneiko-chan. And who is Blondie-kun you have with you? A voice both knew all too well. Keneiko because she worked closely with and was friends with, and Naruto because whenever he heard that voice, it was always accompanied by the oohs and ahs of his fellow students. Looking ahead at the girl that spoke, Naruto smiled. Hello, Himejima-san. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. You can just call me Naruto. You're Keneiko-chan's friend after all, and any friend of hers is a friend of mine. Akino was thoroughly shocked. Never had a member of the opposite sex speak to her and greet her as if they were friends, and they especially never greeted her without some look of lust in some form or another. Ah, Keneiko-chan, Bucho is taking a shower right now, so if you both would like to wait on the couch while she freshens up, that would be much appreciated. Yudo-kun will be here soon, I believe. He always seems to get cornered by his adoring fans immediately after class. Foo, Akino said and laughed. Feeling that his introduction would have to wait, Naruto gently pulled Keneiko to a seat on a couch and sat down with her in his arms while he put his earbuds in and started listening to Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake Suite, Op. 20a, scene, or more commonly referred to as Tchaikovsky's Swan theme. After getting his earbuds in and music playing, Naruto started to settle in and relax. He leaned more into Keneiko just as she did the same, his hand gently scratching at Keneiko's scalp and letting the day's events and frustrations just melt away. Naruto was never really good at holding back his emotions. When he was younger, he would be extremely energetic and lively and far too emotional, and the only thing to help himself rein in his energy was training until he dropped. Of course, that was before the Fourth Great Ninja War. Before he became stranded. But as he grew, and as he matured, he learned when the right time and place to be energetic was. But most importantly, he gained a hobby that helped him calm down. And that was listening to music, classical music to be exact. This world's music is far different, and far more varied than his home world's ever was. But of all the genres, he liked classical the most. There was a mood for everything in classical music, sometimes in the same suite. About 10 minutes goes by and Naruto and Keneiko are thoroughly calmed and ready. The door to the clubroom opens to show a handsome young man with blonde hair and blue eyes. He stepped through the threshold and greeted the room with his usual pretty boy smile. This boy was Yuto Kiba, a third-year high school student, and the resident male heartthrob for the majority of girls. Good afternoon, everyone. Excuse me, but who would you be, if you don't mind my asking? Kiba questioned. Yes, I think introductions are now in order. Sorry about the wait, everyone, but most of you guys know how much I like taking a shower after school, so I simply couldn't wait to freshen up. That voice. There's no doubt about it. Naruto knew that voice. Everyone does. The most popular student, the most popular girl at school. Naruto slowly opened his eyes, revealing crystal blue orbs as the piece he was listening to faded out as it was the end of the song. He gave a large and happy smile. Rias Gremory, Naruto said with a smile. It is wonderful to finally meet you. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, a third-year high school student and everyone's favorite blonde. No offense, Kiba-san. Kiba just gave a small chuckle and a genuine smile. None taken, Uzumaki-san. Naruto slowly got up, leaving the warmth of Keneiko's closeness. He stood up, pulling out his phone and pausing the song that came on next, and pulled his earbuds out and stowed them away. Keneiko, not liking the sudden lack of Naruto's embrace, frowned slightly, but other than that she remained alert and attentive. Rias looked on and smiled. It is my pleasure to meet you, Naruto-san. As you're obviously aware, my name is Rias Gremory, president of the Occult Research Club, and a third-year high school student. You've already met the vice president of the ORC, Akino Himejima, the only male that is currently a part of the ORC, and the ORC's bookkeeper, Yuto Kiba. And of course you know Keneiko Tuju, also a member of the ORC and our publicity officer. The only other member of my club is as of this moment suspended from the ORC until he feels he would like to join again. Indeed, I have met most of them before, some more times than others. But that is not the only reason I am here. I came to Keneiko to ask if I could have your club look into a little legend originating from Germany. I am not sure if your club lets students ask for personal research, but I would quite like to know what your research entails. Kind of like a demonstration, if you will, an example of what it is that the ORC does. If need be, I am willing to pay for this service if it is an inconvenience to any work you are already doing. That is quite the request, and quite the offer, Uzumaki-san, and I will accept, but what I will decline is payment. I was actually wondering if you would like to join my club. I have heard many great things from you. Keneiko quickly snapped her head at Rias, knowing what it was she was really wanting to get at, but before she could open up her mouth, Rias continued, and I do find that joining my club will grant you more than you sought. And with that, Rias unfurled her wings. Black as night and similarities like a bat, but yet different at the same time. After Rias showed her wings, she was followed by Akino, who did the same, then Kiba following suit, with a kind smile. Keneiko, too stunned at how Naruto's first interaction with her friends played out, did not reveal her wings. You see, Uzumaki-san, everyone here are devils, including Keneiko. We are beings of magic and darkness. Not evil, but not totally good. We are part of the biblical faction, though those of us in said faction don't necessarily like being associated with each other, so we formed groups way long ago. The devil faction, the fallen angel faction, and the angel faction. You see, there was a war a few centuries ago between all three biblical factions, and every side lost a lot of members, and so, from that war and after a devil civil war came the creation of the evil pieces. No, despite the name, these pieces are not evil. These pieces, made to look like chess pieces, are what allow creatures to be reborn as a devil. There are 16 pieces in total. The king piece, that's me, the queen piece, Akino has this one, 2 knight pieces, Kiba has one of these, 2 bishop pieces, one of mine is already used but is away for some time, 2 rook pieces, one of which a certain white-haired friend of yours holds. Rias gestures to Keneiko, who is still on the couch, and of course to finish the set off, 8 pawn pieces. Of all those pieces, some can become what is called a mutated piece, a piece with more and stronger attributes than their regular counterpart. With becoming a devil, you gain the benefit of enhanced abilities and magic. Too many to list off right now, but it is something to think about. Now, Naruto Uzumaki-san, what do you say? Rias held out her hand and looked at Naruto expectantly. Naruto tried, he really did, but he couldn't hold it any longer. Naruto started to snicker, then laughed, and kept laughing for a good 2 minutes. The rest of the room looked on at Naruto in shock and surprise. Why exactly was he laughing? Could Naruto not comprehend the concept of the supernatural world? So laughing was the only thing he could do. The laughter slowly started to die down, and Naruto recomposed himself, albeit with a wide toothy grin splitting his face. I'm sorry about that. I really am. It seems like you had a speech prepared for a while on that. It was truly a really well thought out and detailed speech, saving further details until after the recipient was reincarnated. But I'm afraid I am going to have to decline your offer. Rias looked at Naruto in shock and bewilderment, but before she could respond, Naruto spoke again. I am well aware that you all are devils. This earned a gasp from Rias and a tilted head from Akino. After all, I too am a devil. And with that, Naruto too unfurled his wings, the very same as the other occupants in the room. It took a moment, but in time Rias glared hotly at Naruto and summoned her unique power of destruction. Akino summoned sparks of lightning between her fingers. Ready to defend her, King, and Kiba summoned a demonic sword in a defensive position in front of his, King, ready to slice at Naruto at a moment's notice. Keneiko all the while could only stand there in shock and realization. It was no wonder why she could feel a similar aura to hers in Naruto. He too was a devil. It makes so much sense now. Who are you? Who sent you here? Are you aware you're in the joint territory of houses Gremry and Citri, two of the current Satans? Are you a stray devil? Answer before I have you destroyed on the spot, Rias asked, then declared in an authoritative tone. Once again, Naruto could only grin. Slowly, magic runes crept up the walls, floor, and ceiling until all sides were covered. Below Naruto's feet was an array that showed a sigil. Once Rias looked at the sigil, she paled. Naruto laughed. I like you guys, so quick to defend your king, so lively and loyal. Now, let me officially introduce myself. My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, the Nine-Beast Devil, but you guys may know of my other alias, Mephistopheles, the first reincarnated devil, though I hope you guys can keep my presence and name a secret for a while longer. If more beings knew I was active, it would be bad for everyone. And don't worry, Sona already knows, and also agreed to keep it a secret for now. I actually came to talk to you guys about introductions. I was also curious what you guys can dig up and figure out about the tragedy of Dr. Faustus, or more specifically the devil Mephistopheles. The play was actually a semi-retelling of my happenings with Johann Faust. Quite a good man, and a fun guy to be around. You see, I'm kind of vain to an extent. I like hearing stories that the humans wrote or extracted about my Mephistopheles alias. It intrigues me to know what humans think about the story. After Naruto said all that, 9 orbs of multiple colors floated out and away from Naruto in a semicircle behind the blonde. All of a sudden, a tremendous force fell upon the ORC members. The force was something that neither Rias, Akino, or Kiba knew of. It didn't feel like devil magic, or any magic they knew of. But Keneiko knew the feeling. It was the same feeling she and plenty of other yokai had. It was chakra. But raw and more powerful, but also comfortable and warm. Ha ha. The looks on your faces. I haven't seen a look like that since the Great King. Ah, what a time. The booming voice came from a floating orange orb to Naruto's right. Silence, Kurama. Can't you see they're scared? This voice came from a blue and black orb to Naruto's left. It is fun to get out and have a laugh every now and then, Matatabi. The pinkish-brown orb to the left of the one referred to as Kurama. Okay, I think that's enough games. Time to introduce you guys as well, Naruto spoke. All of a sudden the 9 orbs circled back over in front of Naruto, and lowered to the ground where the orbs shone their respective colors, and a moment later, 9 creatures appeared in their place. A small sandy brown tanuki with 1 tail, a small 2-tailed blue and black flaming cat, an aquamarine 3-tailed turtle, an orange 4-tailed gorilla, a white 5-tailed dolphin horse, a white 6-tailed slug, a green and blue 6-winged and single-tailed, 7-tailed, flying rhinoceros beetle, a pinkish-brown 8-tailed octopus, and finally, an orange 9-tailed fox. Okay, so, in order of tails, lowest to highest, there is Shikaku, Matatabi, Isabu, Son Goku, Koko, Saiken, Chome, Gyuki, and Kurama. My partners and friends, when their names were called, they each gave a small bow and greeting of their own. Wait, and Mephistopheles? I thought that was just a story told by devil parents to inspire their children to become strong. And the first reincarnated devil? When? How? Who is your king? Rias asked in bewilderment. I mean, she just learned that one of the strongest and highest class devils was in her territory. Not only that, but he was her schoolmate. And he was dating a member of her peerage. Could anything get any more confusing or shocking? Well, in order, Mephistopheles is the name I was dubbed by a man who wrote about my time with a German alchemist, writer, and would know him as Johann George Faust, or Dr. Faustus. Yes, I am the first reincarnated devil. It was sometime in the 1500s. Satan Blue, or Lord Ajuka Beelzebub as you say, created the piece that reincarnated me. The piece he used on me was merely a prototype for what was to come, the evil pieces. He reincarnated me when I was nearly dead and unconscious. And boy was I angry. When I came to, and he told me what he had done, I kicked his ass. Naruto took on a speculative look. Come to think of it, I think that was one of the reasons why he chose to make the rule about a king not being able to reincarnate somebody who is stronger than you, and I wouldn't exactly call him my king. I hardly do as he says. Even so, after a few decades to calm myself and forgive Ajuka for reincarnating me into a devil, I didn't mind so much. He said I was his bishop. He also said that essentially I was a test subject of the first piece. I kicked his ass again. And after that, he further perfected the evil piece system and finished his peerage, also giving the strongest and best evil pieces he could make to himself, Sirzechs Gremory, Seraphal Citri, and Falbium Glagiolavelas, later all four becoming the new four great Satans. This all happened between the end of the Great War and the beginning of the Devil's Civil War. Phew, that was one hell of an explanation. Of course I left a lot of things out, but that is the gist of things. And I'm here because I want to, not because I was ordered, so don't worry Keneiko-chan, what I feel for you is real, Naruto explained, then smiled lovingly at Keneiko. Keneiko for her part blushed and looked down, taking another stick of Pocky and absent-mindedly nibbling on it. Well, what are you doing here? If you're so old, why are you here? Surely you already have learned all there is, Rias asked Naruto. The Bijou just laughed. Please don't call me old, it makes me feel old. Kurama, Shikaku, and Son Goku only laughed harder while Gyuki and Matatabi tried to console Naruto. Rias, Akino, and Kiba looked on in astonishment. Keneiko walked up to a dejected Naruto and tugged on his left sleeve. Senpai, she muttered and leaned on to Naruto, giving him a small hug. Naruto could feel the love and affection Keneiko was trying to relay, and he felt grateful to have her in his life. He has never had anyone be there for him quite like Keneiko does. He smiled and put a hand on Keneiko's hair and started to scratch. Keneiko started to purr at Naruto's ministrations. Thank you, Keneiko-chan. You have no idea how happy I am to be with you. Keneiko smiled and snuggled in some more. Now, as for me being here, it is like I said, I want to be here. I can also sense a lot of things will be happening in Ko pretty soon. Things bigger than you guys, stronger than you guys. With that said, the 8 Bijou glowed once more and shot back into Naruto, who didn't look fazed at all. The 9th, Kurama, glowed orange and just disappeared, not shooting into Naruto like the others. With the lack of Bijou, Keneiko also noticed the lack of excess chakra in the air around them, but also noticed Naruto still had chakra, and it was still warm and extremely comforting. Senpai, how do you have chakra? You don't seem to be a yokai. And your chakra is warm, Keneiko asked before she started to close her eyes while leaning on Naruto. Here, let me explain. Naruto brought Keneiko back over to the couch they were sitting on. Naruto sat down, and Keneiko sat down on his lap. Surprised, Naruto slowly slipped his arms around Keneiko's waist and held her. Events leading up to my reincarnation, I was in another world. Another dimension really. And in that dimension almost all living things had chakra, from flora to fauna, even the earth and rocks. Well, in that dimension, there was a world war that was going on. The 4th Great Ninja War. It was fought between the 5 great villages and 2 madmen. One was my teacher's formerly thought to be dead teammate, and the other was one of the 2 founders of my home village, the village hidden in the leaves, and another entity, but we'll get to that. Anyways, the war was going poorly, then it got even worse when a goddess was summoned. Well, in the fight with the goddess Kagaya, my best friend was killed, but not before giving me his power and eyes. Naruto shows the room his 2 Rinnegan. Gone were the crystal blue eyes that Keneiko secretly loved so much. In place of his blue ones were purplish silver eyes with concentric circles radiating outward and 6 tomo in each eye. The eyes themselves radiated such power and demanded authority, but they also felt kind and giving. These eyes are called the Rinnegan or Rinne Sharingan if you want to get technical. They are powerful tools, considered the eyes of the gods in my world, and truly, they are godly. Anyways, after the death of my best friend and his gifts, I went and sealed all the chakra of the Bijou into me. Firstly, Kagaya had all the Bijou sealed into herself as one. Well, I did the opposite. I sealed the individual Bijou into me. But with me fighting a war for 3 days straight and then a goddess for who knows how long, I was tired. So I left. Kagaya had this annoying ability to make gates to different dimensions, and it just so happened she made a gate before I resealed her. I wanted to take all that the people of my world would fight over and leave. So I dove through Kagaya's last portal before it could close, and here I am. I guess that's a really roundabout way to say that I have chakra because I was born in my world. Although he explained it awkwardly, Keneiko understood what Naruto was trying to say. Alright, enough about me. I'm just bored talking about myself. What about you guys? What have you guys been up to? Rias looked away with a scowl and gripped her hands tightly. I remember. You have a marriage contract with a certain Dushi Phoenix. Well, have you done anything about it? I will not marry Riser. Good, but saying it does nothing. What were you planning on doing? I was planning on growing my peerage and training. Good. Do any people come to mind? Issei Hayato. Yudo-kun says he can sense a slight dragon presence from him. At the mention of Issei, Naruto scowled. Keneiko noticed and gripped his hand softly. She knew Naruto hated the pervert, and after today, she was sure Naruto was planning something for the perverted trio. Okay, well, as much as I hate the stupid pervert, you bringing him in your peerage is not my choice. But if he is inducted in your peerage, there are going to be some rules and restrictions. I can't speak on the behalf of others, but I can on Keneiko-chan and I. 1. Issei will not make any advancements to Keneiko-chan. If he does, I'll step in and deliver my punishments. 2. Issei will not peek on Keneiko-chan. No exceptions. If he does, I will deliver my punishments accordingly. And I guess that will be all the rules I can think of right now. But remember, I will do anything to protect my Keneiko-chan. Are we clear? Naruto asked with power behind his voice. Crystal, Rias said to the short demands of the possibility of Issei coming into the fold. She could agree to those demands because she too would like Issei to lessen his infamous perversion. She also didn't want her maybe soon-to-be piece to be wounded or killed by one of the strongest devils to exist. Now if you want training, I guess I can help you out. I have a training room at my house. It can cater to any needs the trainee wishes. Are you guys up for it? Naruto questioned. Rias looked at her peerage and, receiving all nods, looked back at Naruto. We accept. Excellent. I will walk you guys to my house now, if you guys don't mind. They all agreed to go to Naruto's house today for some light training and to learn more about Naruto. Naruto, Keneiko, Rias, Kiba, and Akino finally made it to Naruto's home. The group was surprised to say the least. Naruto's house is a large 2-story house with a stone slab stairway leading to a wide front patio with a red double door. On the right side of the house is a garage descending into ground with a shallow slope, and on the left side of the house is a lush green lawn with a small garden close to the patio. Here we are. My house. I know, for a house in Japan it is quite large and quite western. I had to buy the 2 houses on either side of the main plot to accommodate the space and room and especially privacy. The house itself only takes about 1/4 of the total area of the combined plots, but I think it was well worth it. Not too big, not too small. Then again, as a devil, and one with a lot of assets, I could have gone with a mansion or a castle, but that's on my land in the Underworld. Now come on. I want to show you guys and discuss a training regime. And with that, Naruto unlocked and opened the doors to the house. Right through the entrance, the group saw that the house was quite spacious on the inside, with an open floor plan for at least half of the first floor, including the kitchen, dining room, and lounge. Alright everyone, take a seat, we can chat and discuss what each of you are wanting for training. I'll go get us something to eat and drink. And with that, almost everyone sat down on the black polyester couch and chairs. Akino followed Naruto into the kitchen. Please, allow me to help, Naruto-kun. I am not used to being the one being served, so I want to help. Fu, Akino laughed coyly, with her hand in front of her mouth. Sure thing, Akino-san. I'll get you the tea leaves and the tea set. My drink is already in the lounge. I also have some food to make sandwiches with, and of course I have some sweets for Keneiko-chan. Naruto smiled at the end. After about 10 minutes, Naruto and Akino came back into the lounge room and sat the assorted snacks down on the short walnut table. Akino then set down the tea saucers and teacups on the table before she started to pour the tea evenly. Naruto set down a small plate of cookies in front of Keneiko and laughed at her look of desire for the sweet treats. Naruto then moved to sit down in a black armchair that came with the furniture set. But first he grabbed a glass and a crystal decanter filled with a gold-colored liquid in it, and a walnut coaster, and set it down on the table beside his chair. He filled his glass about halfway before he put the stop back on the decanter and placed it down. Alright, so now that we're all here, where do you want to begin? How have you been training? Naruto asked the group. Rias just finished taking her first sip of tea before she replied. We haven't gotten around to training hard quite yet. There have been things going on that required my attention first. Naruto frowned. Such as? Well, school for one, then my duties as a king and co-owner of the land of Ko, and me searching for a new member for my peerage. And then there's this new problem of the fallen angels that have taken residence in my territory. Naruto's frown remained the same. School should not be a problem for you, neither should issues over the governance of Ko, especially since you're only leasing the land from the Kyoto Yokai faction and subsequently the Shinto faction. As for a new member, I suppose that will be a problem. And the fallen angels, Akino scowled at the name of the faction, will not pose much of a threat. Play it by ear first, then see where it takes you. Naruto takes a sip of his golden whiskey. Now, where do you see your power levels? How strong do you think you are? Any strengths or weaknesses you know of? Each of you, tell me what you think. I think as a peerage we are very good. We work well together, and we have good combos with each other, and know what each other is usually gonna do, Rias spoke. Okay, good. But I'm afraid I am going to need more than that. Since you spoke, we'll have you start. Strengths, weaknesses, hobbies, dreams, likes, dislikes. A simple introduction. Okay, well, I am Rias Gremory, heiress of the House of Gremory, Duke clan of the Underworld. I have the power of destruction and I possess a keen mind, though not as sharp as Sona's, so I guess that could be considered a weakness. I enjoy watching anime and reading manga in my spare time. My dream is to be free of this stupid marriage and marry whoever I choose. I like my peerage, they are my friends and family. I also like my elder brother and Graphius-san and my nephew Milicus. I hate Riser Phoenix and this marriage contract. Very good. I feel I have learned a lot about you. Even some things you did not speak of. Next, Akino. I am Akino Himejima, Queen, to Rias Gremory. My strengths lie with my abilities as a Queen Peace, the bond one have with my peerage mates, and my loyalty. I would have to say my weaknesses are not being able to protect Bucho properly. My hobbies are spending time making tea and cooking meals. My dream is to protect Bucho and help end her engagement. I like Bucho and my friends. And I hate fallen angels. At the end of Akino's introduction, Naruto frowned. He knew Akino would be a tough enough person to train, now add on all the extra problems he could sense from her. He'll have to make do, and figure out a way for her to accept herself. Alright, Kiba, you're up. Let's go. My name is Yudo Kiba. I am a knight in the service of Rias Gremory. I am swift and adept with swords, though I admit, even though I am fast, I am weak comparatively. I do not believe I am particularly strong, by devil standards anyway. I have a strong sacred gear, sword birth. Like the name implies, I am able to conjure and create any manner of demonic sword I can imagine. My hobby is to train my sword strikes and stances, and look for new concepts and ideas for swords. My dream, like Akino-san, is to free Bucho from her marriage contract, but I also wish to avenge my fallen friends. I hate the Church, Excalibur, and especially the Holy Sword Project, and I absolutely hate Valper Galilei. I dislike being weak, too weak to protect my friends. Good job, Kiba. Finally, someone who can actually tell me a fully true weakness. No offense, Rias, Akino, but it seems Kiba has a firmer grasp on his abilities than you two do, or he at least thought about it longer. But do not worry, you guys, I plan on making specific training plans for each of you. Rias and Akino both frowned at what Naruto implied, but remained quiet. Now last but certainly not least, Keneiko-chan, introduction please. My name is Keneiko Tuju. I am a rook in the service of Rias Gremory. I am strong. I am slow. My hobbies are eating sweets, boxing, and listening to rap music. Keneiko looks up at Naruto. I like you, Naruto-kun. I also like Bucho, Akino, Kiba, and Gasper. I dislike my sister, and my dreams are to end Rias' marriage. And Keneiko looks away with a small dusting of pink, to stay with you, senpai. At the end, Keneiko closes herself off and shrinks in on herself, feeling embarrassed. Naruto was just stunned. He heard all she said, but it was her last statement that shocked him. He smiled. We'll talk about it later, alright, Keneiko-chan? Keneiko only gave a small nod, an indication she heard him. Well, I feel like I certainly know you guys better. This time tomorrow, I should have your training regimes ready. Until then, I guess just relax. You'll need it. And brainstorm some ideas you think we can try to use for training. I want to see what you guys come up with for your own training. Keneiko-chan, would you like to talk with me in my study? Keneiko again nodded, stood up, and followed Naruto out of the lounge area. Once Naruto and Keneiko made it to Naruto's study, Keneiko's eyes widened in awe. Here, in Naruto's study, was a large wooden desk with 2 monitors and a computer atop it perpendicular to a window with black curtains drawn to the sides. Looking around, Keneiko saw a violin on an angled display stand, a glossy black grand piano situated in the corner of the room with a large couch along the wall next to it, and another smaller couch perpendicular to the previous couch, facing the piano. She also noticed 4 medium speakers mounted to the top corners of the room, and 1 long speaker bar on a shelf that is a part of a bookcase with plenty of books. She also saw that on the walls were several large, black acoustic panels, obviously placed to prevent sounds from bouncing in the room. Naruto, seeing Keneiko look at the room, made his way to one of the couches and started to relax. Sitting down, Naruto pulled out his phone, connected to the sound system, and quietly played Antonio Vivaldi's Concerto No. 4 in F minor, Winter. At the sudden introduction of music softly playing all around her, Keneiko looked for Naruto at the desk. Not seeing him there, she swung her head across the room to see him sitting on one of the couches. He seemed to be getting more relaxed as the music played. I'm sorry if I was being pushy and rude, offering you to follow me here, but I often find myself getting stressed every day and classical music helps relax me and calm me down. I'm sorry if the music isn't to your liking. Keneiko shook her head. It's fine, senpai. I don't mind. This is your house after all. Naruto smiled gently. Though I may be a student at Ko Academy, it's the stress of my job that gets to me. So many things happening everywhere. It's hard to keep track. Senpai. What is your job exactly? Unfortunately, I do not think I can tell you. Not yet at least. I fear if who I am and what I'm doing got out, beings that are getting ready to mobilize would go back in hiding and wait longer for their schemes to start. A look of concern washed over Keneiko's face. Is it dangerous? Yes and no. It's complicated, but trust me when I say that I will be fine. I haven't had any problems before, and I won't start having any now. Keneiko nodded a little hesitantly, and walked closer to the couch Naruto was sitting on, before she sat down beside him and leaned into him. Be careful, Naruto-kun. Naruto brought his left hand up and started running his fingers through her soft white hair gently while his right arm snaked around the girl's waist and pulled the girl a little closer, his actions comforting her. I will, Keneiko-chan. I promise. They sat like that for a few minutes. Naruto broke the soft music-filled atmosphere by asking a question. What did you mean when you said you wanted to stay with me, Keneiko-chan? Keneiko blushed. Well, I meant I wanted to stay dating you. I'm still new to dating, you know. Naruto smiled. You know, despite how long I've been alive, I actually haven't dated anyone either. Even in my old world. Almost all my time in both worlds was taken up by training. That's why I'm so strong. When I was reincarnated, I had to train my body and self to use this new power. Now I'm strong, and I use that strength to protect as much as I can. But I'm also a novice at plenty of other subjects, dating is one of them. But I couldn't be happier with anyone else by my side. I honestly can't ask for more. You mean it? Keneiko looked back at him with wide amber eyes. Every word. Keneiko shut her eyes and gave a wide smile to Naruto, with a single tear sliding down her cheek. Naruto kissed the tear away and gave Keneiko another gentle tear on her lips. They stayed like that for a few seconds before separating. You know, if you wanted to stay here, I have extra rooms. And I have a large backyard that can help with your training. I built a hot spring back there with a few jutsu, and there's plenty of privacy with large trees lining the privacy fence, with a seal around the property to suppress most auras and sensing abilities from the outside. But most importantly though, there's a surplus of pure, nature chakra here. Keneiko's eyes widened. That is if you want to. If you do, great. You just have to talk to Rias. If not, that's fine too. I'm not exactly sure what fast or slow is when it comes to dating or things like this. Naruto immediately spoke, fearing he upset Keneiko with his proposition. Keneiko shook her head softly. No, it's not that I don't want to, because I would love to. But you said that there's nature chakra here? I know what happened with your sister, Keneiko-chan. And what happened with her is not natural. It could be the fact that she tried to use senjutsu in the underworld, where there is negative energy in abundance, or something else that triggered her violent reaction, or something that you or I haven't thought of, but rest assured that what happened with her cannot, and will not happen with you. I can promise that. I personally purify the natural chakra of the world and make it happy, so to speak. See, nature has emotions too. The more wars, bloodshed, and exploitation of the world and environments, the more angry and darker the feeling accompanying the nature chakra is. In places like the underworld, where there is dark energy everywhere, the nature chakra there is probably also going to be dark too. In places like heaven, where there is light energy, then the happier the nature chakra is. Though anyone that can use nature chakra for senjutsu can purify and mold the chakra within themselves to cleanse the energy, and make it safe to use. That is a major difference between our worlds. In my world, I don't think the people there have tainted the energy so much that it remained dark. But here, where there are so many races and religions and wars, there are bound to be clashes and tainted energies. So my sister, she used senjutsu incorrectly? Yes. Though I fear there was another reason. But we'll just have to ask her when we meet. Will I be able to use senjutsu correctly then? Yes. Not only use it correctly, but master it. That is the goal of the training I will be giving you. I mastered senjutsu, or in my world it is called sage mode, in 1 week. Granted, I was the reincarnation of a demigod, had a chakra monster sealed in me, could make hundreds of clones, and was training to use senjutsu on a special mountain filled with natural energy, and I had a teacher. But if you can't learn it in a week, don't worry. I can just slow down or stop time entirely. Keneiko just looked at Naruto wide-eyed and closed-mouthed, like she wasn't sure if he was lying. Naruto chuckled at the look on Keneiko's face. I'm not called the king of time for no reason, Naruto said with a sly grin. Naruto poked Keneiko in the ribs to get her out of her daze. You can stop time? Naruto nodded. You can clone yourself? Naruto nodded again. Let me guess, you can create things from nothing. There was an awkward silence, with nothing but the soft music for sound. Naruto said nothing but brought his hands together. Banbutsu Sozo. And with those 2 words, Keneiko felt a great amount of power emanating from Naruto, rushing towards his palms. It was enough power that Rias and the others who were still in the lounge could feel the pressure and amount of power emanating from where Naruto and Keneiko were. But the power felt controlled. Refined. Inside Naruto's study, said boy pulled his palms apart, and held in one of his palms were 2 items. Said items were revealed to be a necklace and a ring. On the necklace, the pendant was shown to be an orange sapphire fox wrapped around a moonstone cat, both seeming to be wrapped up in each other and sleeping. The chain seemed to be a blue gold rope-style chain, with the ends being blue gold magnetic clasps. The ring was also very similar, obviously created to be part of a set. The ring was a blue gold band with the head of the ring being the same fox and cat design. The same palm that was holding the necklace and ring glowed orange with a spell circle with the sigil of Mephistopheles. Here. The spell made the necklace unbreakable, and I stopped time on the necklace, meaning it will never rust or deteriorate. The magnetic clasp will never release and unclasp unless you want it to, so it stays on and never gets lost or falls down in a fight. I know how rooks fight, and I think it's wise for it to be as strong as possible. Naruto clasped the necklace around Keneiko's neck, and the pendant fell atop the clothes where her cleavage is, while he put the ring that he created on his left ring finger, signifying his romantic relationship with the other set piece, in this case being Keneiko's new necklace, and therefore Keneiko. It's beautiful, spoke Keneiko, taking hold of the pendant and admiring it. I guess that's your answer. I can create things from nothing. It took me years to Naruto couldn't finish what he was saying because Keneiko pulled Naruto in a long, gentle kiss, hoping she could show how much she felt for him in that one kiss. I love you, senpai, Keneiko told Naruto once they separated, with a kind smile and puffy red eyes, tears of happiness welling up inside. Naruto was in a daze for a few seconds before he recollected himself. I love you too, Keneiko-chan. Yes, you both love each other. It's making me uncomfortable. Kurama, what are you doing here? I thought you went to go check something out? I did, and it seems what I guessed was correct. He'll try to make a move soon. Keep your eyes and ears open. I think there will be far more to the event than we thought. You might want to talk to your friends in high places soon. I'll tell you later. And just like that, Kurama disappeared. What was that about? My job. I and a few others had a hunch, and Kurama chose to see if it was right. And it was apparently. I have to start your group's training soon. Good thing is that tomorrow is Saturday. Naruto closed his eyes and sighed, but his eyes opened and looked at Keneiko, who put her hand on his and pulled his hand to her head. Pet me, Keneiko said with a small smile but still in a monotone voice. Naruto happily obliged. I will, but come on, get up. We have to talk with Rias and the others a little more. Keneiko nodded. Naruto started walking to the door, before changing directions and walked to his desk. At the desk, he opened a small wooden box, and took out an item. That item, from what Keneiko saw, was an orange and black signet ring bearing the sigil of Mephistopheles. Naruto felt Keneiko looking at him with a curious gaze. This ring is to show who I am, but most importantly what it signifies. It means that I'm now going to be active in the world again. Many people have forgotten about me, or think that I am either dead or at least out of their way. Now, when people see this sigil, they will know that they will have to be more careful. Me and the group I work with will now have to take a larger role in the world, and it starts with this. After Naruto explained the ring and the importance, he took on a serious and faraway look. Keneiko looked worried for Naruto, but before she could ask Naruto what he meant, Naruto seemed to shake off the seriousness, and his face brightened in remembrance. Oh, Keneiko-chan, you never actually gave an answer if you wanted to move in, so I was just wondering if you know. Naruto trailed off with nervousness entering his voice at the end, scratching the back of his head. I would love to live with you. And I'm fine with the speed we're going at. I just don't think I'm ready for you now. Naruto looked confused for a moment, before he blushed a warm red and threw his hands up between himself and Keneiko, and started waving them around in a frantic way. No, I don't think I'm ready either. Besides, I don't want to force you into anything you're not ready for or don't want to do. Thanks, Naruto-kun. I'll talk to Rias about me moving in with you, Keneiko replied, taking the pendant of her necklace in her hand. Alright then. Naruto scratched his head in embarrassment. Sorry I wasn't able to begin your training yesterday, you guys. I didn't know that the introductions and talks would take so long. That was what Naruto said to Rias and the rest of her active peerage the next day when they met up at the Occult Research Club. It may have been Saturday now, but Rias being the ORC president, and one of the people that run the school can allow students on campus after hours. That is what she did for her group and Naruto. That's also what Sona does with her peerage when she has extra work to be done for the school. So I know that I said yesterday that I have a training room in my house that can cater to any training needs any of you can want. But what I forgot to mention is that it was built to cater for the needs of self-discipline, like meditation, or katas and martial arts, or control exercises. So training one's speed of a night, like what I will be doing for Kiba-san, or strength and control of magic, like Rias' power of destruction would just be too much. So as an alternative, how about for the weekend, we go to a secluded, wide area where you all can train together and separately. My territory in the Underworld, for example, would be ideal for your training. It has plenty of room, and the terrain can change to whatever is needed for training. What do you guys say? Rias spoke up. Why can't we just do it here? My family owns an estate in the mountains that we can all train at. I forgot the House of Gremory has more land here on Honshu, and while we could train at your family's estate, training at my territory would be more beneficial in the long run. There is a barrier around my land, all-encompassing, and within the barrier, I can control everything. The amount of energy emitted from the land, the amount of energy detected from outside space-time. I'm sure you can see what I'm getting at. If you all trained in the Underworld with me, this 2-day weekend can be a year if I so wish. Of course, the greater the time difference, the more magic and power I will have to use to get the results I want. But until House Phoenix comes knocking to inevitably push your marriage forward, you all can travel with me to my territory every weekend for either both days or 1 day, and we could train for longer. I would also like to extend the offer to your bishop, as well as any new peerage members you get. We don't want your peerage to get too unbalanced. Rias took on a concerned look when Naruto mentioned her temporarily unavailable piece. Gasper cannot control his powers or sacred gear. Isn't that what training is for? He's not one to be sociable. He's shy. Then we'll just have to help him out, won't we? Rias only got more nervous. Rias, do you want your peerage to be strong? Don't you want to break this engagement? Don't you want to make the rest of the Gremory family proud with your strength as a king and a peerage? Why yes. Then why are you so against releasing Gasper from his self-isolation? You can't help him if you keep coddling him. He doesn't know what he needs, only what he wants, and he wants to remain as he is. Don't you see the illogical reasoning you're allowing to happen? He needs a guide. He needs help and motivation and a good foundation. Let us be the foundation that helps him become more than he dreamed. But you also need to want him to better himself. Without your acceptance, nothing can get done in this peerage, when you're looking for specific results. Rias took all of what Naruto said and thought about it. Then she looked up at Naruto and gained a look of determination. Alright. Let's get him unsealed. Naruto grinned in excitement. Great. Now get ready. Rias led Naruto and the rest of her peerage out the door and down the hall. At the end of the hall stood a doorway with chains across the door and talismans attached. The door had etchings of symbols and runes on it, and Naruto examined it. These etchings. It's a seal, yes? It seems to be humming with a great deal of magic. Yes. The seal was put in place by my brother shortly after I came to the human world. He said the seal would become undone when the time is right, or when he took it off himself. Rias looked at the seals with a probing gaze, wondering how to unlock the seal. She didn't want to call her brother if she didn't have to. He was already worrying about the marriage contract and his duties as a Satan. But how do we get in? Did Lucifer-sama give you a key when he sealed Gasper away? No. He told me he didn't want me to have a key in fear that I might unlock it before I was ready. Well, he was right. You aren't ready to unseal him, Naruto replied with a chuckle. Don't worry, I'll get it open. Sorry to sound skeptical, Uzumaki-sama, but can you even open a seal set in place by the strongest Satan? Lucifer-sama is regarded for being the strongest devil for a reason, and I don't think he would have a seal of his opened so easily. Don't worry, Kiba-san. I can get it open. And with that said, Naruto reached for the door with his right hand and gently placed his palm on the door. A second later, the door vibrated a little bit, and the seal glowed red and shattered. There, now we can go in. And when Naruto said that, he turned the handle with his left hand and entered the room. I wonder whose seals are better, the seals from my world, or the seals from here, Naruto wondered to himself. Rias and company just stared at Naruto's back, before becoming aware again and started walking through the threshold. Gasper, it's me, Rias. We're here to get you out of here and train. Go away, it's scary outside. Come on, Gasper, let's go outside and we can have a chat. No, I like it here. Naruto turned to Rias. So how do we convince him to come out? Rias just laughed awkwardly and sweat-dropped. I can get him out. With that said, Keneiko walked further into the room to where she was standing just in front of a box. A box that the damper was currently hiding in. Without any flourish or guilt, Keneiko picked up the box and flipped it upside down. Come on, Gaspy. It's time to come out. And out he came, a boy with medium-length platinum blonde hair, pointed ears, and pink eyes fell out of the box. If Naruto didn't already know, he would have sworn Gasper was a girl, because said boy was wearing the girls' school uniform, complete with the magenta skirt, corset and cape, and thigh-high socks. He seemed to pull the look off pretty well. Well done. Rias crouched down on one knee and looked at the boy that fell out of the box, offering him a hand to take. Hello, Gasper. It's finally time for you to come out. We'll start your training today. Rias smiled. Keneiko stepped behind Rias, looking over her shoulder, and gave Gasper a look with a creepy smile. Scary. After Gasper said that, Akino laughed into her hand, and Kiba smiled in amusement. Rias turned behind her to scold Keneiko. Keneiko-chan, stop teasing Gasper. We're trying to get him out, not keep him afraid of the outside. Once Rias said that, she turned away with exasperation and an impending headache. Naruto for his part was looking on and laughing silently, giving Keneiko a concealed thumbs up, which she saw and smirked. Alright, Naruto clapped loudly, gaining everyone's attention, and scaring Gasper a little. Now that everyone in your peerage can join this training trip, we can get started, so let's go. With that said, Naruto started walking through the doorway, followed shortly by Rias and her peerage. Not even 10 steps out of the room, a red magic circle appeared and glowed in front of Naruto and the group. Rias, what's going on? Is everything okay? I felt the magical seal on Gasper's door break. A voice spoke out before a body appeared. Stepping out of the magic circle stood a handsome man seemingly in his 20s. He had shoulder-length crimson-red hair with blue-green eyes. He wore a white suit consisting of white slacks, a white button-down shirt with a black belt wrapped around his waist atop the shirt, and an open white coat with gold epaulets on his shoulders and red trim on his cuffs. And finishing off his outfit was a black and red hoodless cape with a crimson jeweled brooch fastening together the wrap of the cape. Standing in front of the group was none other than Sirzechs Lucifer, one of the 4 leaders of all the devils, and the strongest Satan, the crimson-haired prince of destruction. He appeared out of the magic circle prepared to fight and defend his little sister. What he was not prepared for was seeing an old friend, and Mephisto. What are you doing here? Sirzechs asked in awe. Sirzechs was not prepared to see Naruto. He was surprised that he was here, but he was also fearful as to why he would be here in the first place. Is he active again? If he is, what does that mean for the rest of the supernatural world? How is Rias tied into all of this? It's good to see you too, Sirzechs Dano. And I'm going by Naruto right now. We're friends after all. Besides, you technically still outrank me, Naruto, then. What are you doing here? Why are you with Rias? And why are the seals on the door broken? Sirzechs asked rapidly. Well, I'm here because I'm a student at Ko Academy. I'm with Rias and her peerage because I'm going to train them, and the seals are broken because I'm going to train the little damper here too. He is a part of her peerage, you know. And I can't train him if he is still sealed. So I broke it. Does this mean you'll be coming back to the Underworld and joining the council? Well, I'll be going back to the Underworld, yes. And I suppose I can finally join the council. The elders still don't like reincarnated devils, right? Sirzechs nodded. Then I guess it's settled. I'll join the council on occasion. Mainly on important topics. It's about time devils start changing with the times. You four may be the new Satans, but it still seems the council still holds a lot of power and sway. I thought this new regime you and the other three created was supposed to be the opposite of the old Satans. But I guess even after 500 years some devils like a certain great king will be hard-pressed to progress to new ideals. But I won't join the Underworld Council quite yet. I have some things to prepare for in the meantime, so I may or may not be sending a proxy. After all, if I just showed up to a meeting, many pillar heads will assume that you Satans are up to something. Which you are, but they don't need to know that. Oh, I'll probably make my appearance at the wedding banquet. So just remember. Now, I need to go to my estate to start Rias and her group's training. Sirzechs smiled at how much Naruto was willing to help with the issues in the underworld, but more importantly how willing he was to help Rias out of her forced marriage. Very well. I guess I shouldn't keep holding you. And thank you, Naruto. It means a lot to me, and much more to my sister, I'm sure. Naruto just smiled and waved at Sirzechs. Later, Red. Sirzechs took a step back and readied a teleportation circle before. Oh, Rias. Before I leave, what happened to that potential new piece you were thinking about acquiring? You said you think he has a draconic sacred gear? Rias spoke up with a bit of haste, not realizing how fast she responded. You mean Issei Hayato-san? I believe he has a potentially strong sacred gear, but I haven't got around to slipping him a summoning paper yet. When we come back from training for the weekend, I'll see what I can do. Sirzechs smiled goofily at Rias, delighted that his little Riatan might be getting a new peerage member. Ah, Riatan. I can't wait to see you complete your peerage. You make me so proud. Rias facepalmed and gave an embarrassed sigh. Oni-san, please. Don't you have work to do? Sirzechs took a second to collect himself, and cleared his throat. Ahem. Yes, I do. So I will be leaving now. Naruto, be sure to train them well. Don't worry, Luciferdano, I will. Look forward to the marriage. Let's see if Riser will be so arrogant to allow a raiding game to take place. Oh, and please, don't let anyone other than the four Satans know that I am back. We don't want the celebrations to start too soon. I want to be there when the old crones flip their shit. Ha! Naruto laughed in anticipation at the reaction that the underworld would likely have at seeing the reincarnated devil on par with the Satans. Naruto now had something else to look forward to. Will do, Mephistodano. And Rias' brother left in a flash of red. All right. Take two. Are we all ready to start training? Almost everyone in the group nodded, while Gasper stood with the box he snatched from his room in his hands. Then let's go. With that said, an orange magic circle with runes and a sigil now known to be Naruto's materialized on the floor underneath the group, and with a radiating glow, all 6 people teleported out of the hallway. A flash of orange was the only thing that the group saw before being teleported to the start of a large 4-lane stone bridge. Welcome to the Underworld, more specifically, my territory. Let's go inside, shall we? Naruto led the group of young devils across the bridge. Below the bridge was a great steep chasm with rapidly flowing water underneath it. The main part of the castle is on the mountain you see across the bridge, connecting the island to the main landmass. You should all be able to see that my territory consists of a great majority of this sea and surrounding land, all radiating from this island. As you all should already know, the Underworld has no oceans, but this sea is just an immensely large freshwater lake. If I had to guess, about the same total area as the Black Sea on the human world. I never got around to naming my territory like other houses. I guess it could be named after my Mephistopheles alias. Who knows? Naruto shrugged to himself. And there is the castle. Naruto pointed to the giant construct. The castle consisted of one large tower in the middle with a large hall-like building attached. Several smaller towers situating themselves around the main tower with walls connecting them creating the perimeter. Many large homes and bathhouses and other businesses and meeting places. And a large pantheon-like temple built into the higher peaks of the mountain, with a large staircase descending the slopes ending the descent at the main courtyard in front of the main hall banquet building. All in all, it looked like a castle fit for the most prestigious of Devil Society, or any society for that matter. The territory was gifted to me by the Satans as thanks for some help and personal errands I ran for them centuries ago. I don't use it much for anything, just some experiments and training. I love toying with seals, so you may find etchings all around the island. It's supposed to be more symbolic than functional if anything else. The group found themselves standing in a massive courtyard, with tall green trees and colorful flora scattered about. In the center of the circular courtyard was a pretty sizable trickle-down fountain. Spaced evenly apart from each other about 100 feet away from the fountain in a concentric array were multiple statues looking like mythos and legends, members and species of the supernatural world. 3 statues looked like a regular person, only with black bat-like wings, feather-like wings made of marble, and feather-like wings made of obsidian. There were also statues of some yokai, most noticeably a 9-tailed fox yokai, a Nekomata yokai, and a monkey yokai. Looking up at the face of the triangle pediment built into the portico, the group saw several sigils carved in the stone. Just under half of those sigils were each glowing colors, ranging from blue to purple to red to orange. A little over half did not seem to be glowing. They just seemed to be like regular carvings. That's when the realization dawned on Rias and her peerage. The carvings were the sigils of the 72 pillars. About half were glowing and half were not because it indicated the houses which were extinct/inactive and which were not. Rias saw the glowing red Gremry crest and the glowing blue Citri crest. She then turned her eyes to several sigils she recognized. Marba, Veilfer, Buer, Gusion, and many more. Alright everyone. We'll be here for about a week, so prepare for some training. Take the rest of today to familiarize yourself with the castle grounds. First I'll show you guys where you all will be staying. Naruto walked off, waving the rest of the party to follow along. The group followed Naruto into the main part of the castle, a giant hall with a tower connecting to the building. Lining the walls were several doors and windows with curtains. This is where you guys will be staying. One room to each of you, so pick a room. About 30 minutes went by and everyone settled down into their selected rooms before lining up in front of Naruto in the middle of the hallway. So you all saw the courtyard. From there is a set of stairs leading down to the north beach. Just follow the walkway. That is where you will be training, Keneiko-chan. There is a garden on the east side of the hall with all kinds of flora living there, so do try not to destroy any of them. The golden door down the hall leads into a basement where the room and walls are enchanted and inscribed with seals to sustain as much damage as possible. There you two, Aquino and Rias, can train to your heart's content. Kiba, you will be training up on the mountain slopes. And finally Gasper. There is a barrier encasing this entire island and then some that I have full control over, meaning all time within is in the palm of my hand. Time manipulation is quite possibly the most linear yet impossibly complex type of magic you can have. You're bending the laws of nature by playing with time. Luckily you have that sacred gear of yours, Forbidden Bailerview. It took me years to master the arts of time, years of which no longer matter now. I will be training with you here in the courtyard. Anywhere will do because you're in my barrier, but we will need some room to also increase your speed. So you will be running around a lot. All of you. So I hope you all brought your pea clothes. And finally, thus ends your tour, and starts your final relaxation of the week. Everyone must be up by 8 tomorrow, no exceptions. Training starts then. Naruto bowed low to the group in jest, with a smile on his face. Dinner will be made in an hour, so until then, do what you want. Next day 8 a.m. So, Naruto-san, what will we be getting started on? Rias asked the blonde-whiskered male. Well, first off is breakfast. I want to have you guys train properly, so that includes 3 healthy meals a day. Then you'll all be splitting up with a clone of mine. Naruto responded while he made a hand sign and a clone of himself popped into existence. These clones are real, corporeal clones, that can interact with you and the environment. They will train you, either by lessons or a hands-on approach. They are not pretty durable though because one hit, and they will cease to be. Naruto chopped the clone in the neck as a demonstration, and the clone poofed into smoke. Upon the clone dispelling, I, the real me, and the other clones, receive its memories and experiences, so it's great for instant transferring of info. Now, any questions? No one spoke up, though Gasper seemed a little nervous and unsure of himself. Good. Now let's head to the dining room to get some food. Time skip 30 minutes later. Rias and Aquino stood in a large, spacious room under the main hall of the castle with a clone of Naruto. The two ladies saw many runes and seals etched into the walls and ceiling of the room. They both could also feel the power emanating outward from the seals, and with that power, they also felt very familiar energies along with a slight stinging pain. Naruto noticed the two girls' looks of intrigue accompanied with slight discomfort before he spoke up. We're currently standing in a room specially made to hold in most types of magic. The 4 Satans, along with the Grigori, mainly Azazel and Shemhazai, and the Seraphs helped me construct and seal this room. You may think of this room as a simulation room of sorts. By which I mean it can summon targets, both stationary and mobile, with and without intelligence, to help someone with their training. It can withstand the full might of Sirzechs Dano's true form, so you two will not have any worry of damaging this place. The room can also show you an analysis and examination of each person in the room and suggest ways to strengthen and control your magic. So let's get started. With that said, Naruto swiped his hand in the air horizontally with an orange glow, and 6 targets appeared. The targets took the form of 3 devils and 3 fallen angels. Once summoned, each target took off towards Rias and Aquino to start their training. Kiba stood across from Naruto in a small, uneven clearing with a sword drawn and held in a German oak stance, breathing calmly and evenly, never taking his eyes off of his opponent across from him. Naruto seemed taken aback. It has been a while since he's seen anyone use that stance. From what he's been recently seeing, people have gone from utilizing actual sword stances used and developed in combat to just swinging a sword around frantically and in desperation, hoping it hits. Naruto smiled at Kiba in appreciation. I am no sword user, but I hope I can help with speeding you up and strengthening your strikes. Naruto spoke up before he drew 2 kunai and held one in a reverse grip, stance and center of gravity slightly lowered, feet firmly planted in place. A second passed before Naruto blurred out of sight. Alright Gasper, this is how we are going to do this. I have some freshly picked fruit here. Your job, for now, is to make the fruit decay by speeding up the time on the fruit. Just the fruit. It will be a lot harder than practicing normal offensive and defensive-based magic, so I will be guiding you through the process. First, you will want to pick up the fruit. I found that touching the object you are trying to manipulate will be easier to get the desired effects than not touching it until you get the hang of it. Gasper nodded sheepishly and slowly picked up a banana from the basket. Now, think of how an older, black banana looks like compared to this yellow one. How does it feel? How does it taste? How does it smell? These senses are all useful tools to help you perceive age in anything. Now let's see how you do today. Alright, Keneiko-chan. I will be helping you train here at the beach every day for the next week. We will be training on multiple things, your strength, speed, agility, but probably most of all, I will introduce you to Senjutsu. Keneiko's eyes widened. Already? Is she even ready? What if she loses control like her sister, Keneiko-chan? I know you're worried. And I get it. But we will not be starting that particular training until you're ready. Your body and mind need to be ready. So not only do we have to build up your physical body, but also your mind. You can know how to use Senjutsu and enter Sage mode all you want, but if your body is too weak, it won't work and vice versa. So, what will we be doing right now, senpai? Keneiko asked now that she was a little calmer. Well, I need to gauge your strength and fighting style. You know, see your strengths and weaknesses, so we can work on both. So let's have a spar for as long as you can and we'll work from there. 4 hours later, 12:30 p.m., the 6 devils were once again at the dining hall for lunch. Everyone except for Naruto seemed tired from the training they were doing. Keneiko and Kiba were the two who looked the most exhausted and sweaty. They were the only two in the group who fought close range and physically, so their bodies were in worse shape. Rias and Aquino were next in terms of fatigue. The two beautiful devils looked tired and hurting just a little, with pieces of fabric here and there either torn, soaked, or burnt. They were slightly panting but not as much as Keneiko or Kiba, and finally was Gasper. He too looked tired and ready to pass out, but he also wore a small triumphant smile. Accomplishment? Then Naruto remembered what he learned when he dispelled his clones to gather everyone for lunch. I have to say, I am surprised with you all today. Truly I am. I did not think you all would be working and training so hard. When I spoke with you all a few days ago, I was shocked at how little you all actually trained, knowing what you know. I have to be honest, I had some trepidation about training you guys. I wasn't sure if the drive was there. But I am fully impressed. The group of young devils looked down in embarrassment at being called out at their lack of intense training but then gave a small smile at Naruto's genuine praise. Now don't think that just because I said some good things that you all will not be training as hard. The training will only get harder. I already have some plans for Kiba, Keneiko-chan, and Gasper once lunch is over, so be prepared. Rias smiled at Naruto, taking a glance at her peerage. Do you think we'll be ready to fight Riser in a raiding game? Naruto's smile dropped at Rias' question and turned to look at her. That remains to be seen. It has only been half of the first day, Rias. Nothing is certain yet. But keep going the way you guys are, and you might be able to beat his peerage. Rias nodded in understanding, acknowledging that what Naruto said was right. It was still too soon to tell. Alright, we have to hurry up and finish eating. I will always have you guys eat a full meal during training, and if you take longer than necessary, I will push back training further into the night, taking time from your sleep, so eat. Once Naruto said that everyone dug into their food, throwing away any dignity or table manners so that they can stay on schedule. Soon, 30 minutes had passed and everyone was getting ready to train again. Back on the slopes of the mountain, Naruto brought out a piece of cloth wrapped around something. Undoing the wrapped cloth, Naruto revealed an inkwell and a brush with some paper. Take off your shirt and pants and sit down on the ground, Kiba. I will be putting some seals on you. Kiba looked a little confused. What kind of seals exactly? Resistance seals? They will make you have to use more force in your movements and actions. This will be how you will train for the rest of your stay here. The seals will help you put more force behind your swings and attacks, and make you just a bit faster. Now undress and sit. Kiba nodded and proceeded to take his shirt and pants off and sat where Naruto told him to. And these seals will help you increase your speed. With you being a rook, you have a speed disadvantage when it comes to lower class devils. This will give you a head start and a major advantage. Lower class, rooks, mainly focus on strength, and the higher class they are, the more they train in speed, and vice versa with knights. But why do I have to take my shirt and shorts off? Keneiko questioned in monotone, with a light dusting of pink on her cheeks. If she were to do what Naruto asked, this would be the second time he saw her shirtless. Naruto knew she would ask that, and he gave an awkward sigh. Because I need to write the seals on you. If I were to write the seals on your clothes, then the clothes will feel heavier, and that's it. We don't want the clothes to feel like they're on Jupiter, we want you to feel like you're on Jupiter. Not only that, but if I were to write the seals on your clothes, the weight distribution might be uneven when the clothes shift around, and you could seriously hurt yourself in the process, cutting off blood flow and the like. But if written on your body will feel as if it is heavier but will function normally. Keneiko listened to all he said until she sighed. Okay, and with that said, Keneiko raised her white pea shirt over her head and took it off, revealing a plain white bra. She then reached for her black shorts and pulled them down before stepping out of the leg holes, showing a plain white pair of panties with a little pink bow on the front. Once her bottoms were off, Keneiko felt more heat rush to her cheeks and moved her arms and hands to cover her clothed modesty. Naruto for his part looked on with a bit of longing before shaking his head clear, adopting a look of seriousness and professionality. Okay, now sit down while I write the seals on you. The ink will be cold, so try not to move a lot. I don't want to make any mistakes. Keneiko saw Naruto's look and wondered to herself if it was because he was going to be writing a seal on her that he wasn't looking at her like a boyfriend would look at his girlfriend that just undressed. She guessed it was just Naruto knowing when to be serious or not. She knew nothing about seals anyways, so maybe it required a lot of concentration and he didn't want to mess up. 30 minutes ticked by and Naruto just finished scribing the seals on Keneiko. Keneiko seemed pretty uncomfortable, sitting in one position for that long without moving, having the ink and brush move against her sensitive skin, making her feel things she would rather not feel at this moment. Alright, you can put your clothes back on, the seals are all done. Keneiko nodded and proceeded to put her shirt and shorts back on, covering up the clothing and body that made Naruto feel hot and bothered for the past 30 minutes. Naruto activated the seals, and they glowed a dim white before disappearing, and Keneiko was sent to one knee at the sudden increase of downward force upon her. Sorry. I guess I should have warned you, hee. Naruto said, scratching his cheek with his index finger, trying to look like he did nothing wrong, but failing miserably. Keneiko just glared at Naruto cutely. The current amount of gravitational force on you is about 2.5 times that of the Earth, meaning you'll have to use 2.5 times the amount of energy you would normally use to move around in any direction. Just like I'm sure I told Kiba, this is how I'm going to be training you for the rest of your time here. I will increase the force of gravity when I see you getting used to the seal. The only time you will have this seal turned off is when you are sleeping, so your body repairs all the torn muscles you will get during the day. Now let's have another spar. Immediately after Naruto finished talking, he rushed towards Keneiko and gave her a hard horizontal kick to the side of her stomach, pushing her several feet away and knocking her down. Keneiko knew, at that moment, it was going to be a long day. Rias, I told you to condense it. Not have it explode in your face. What are you doing? Naruto was scolding Rias. They had been at this for over an hour and a half already. The only thing Naruto asked of the red-headed girl was to condense her power of destruction so that it was no longer emanating in waves and wasting energy. This way, the attack would be more energy efficient and stronger. Hehe, I'm trying, hehe, it's a lot more difficult than it looks. Hehe, have you tried condensing with 2 hands? You have been doing the same thing for the past 1.5 hours. 2 hands will always be easier to start with. You may be able to cast waves of destruction with 1 hand, but not condense balls. Try it again. Boom. Naruto turned around to see Akino in her priestess outfit with large bolts of lightning dancing in the air around her. He then looked at a training target that was charred and bloodied. It was a fallen angel. So looks like I will have to talk to her soon about her fallen blood and her hatred to anything fallen. She could cause unwanted trouble. Good Akino, keep up the power. But remember, be more flexible in your attacks. You don't want patterns forming. Akino just smiled in ecstasy, seeing all the charred and hurting lifelike training targets. Dining hall, 7 p.m. The end of the first day couldn't have come at a better time. Everyone, sans Naruto, was tired from all the training they had to do. This was the first time everyone in the peerage truly trained. Rias and Akino were the two who had seemed to be the least tired. Yes, they were sweaty and looked like it had been a long day, but that was about it. Gasper looked even more tired than the 2 older girls, having exerted so much energy from his training, but just like when he was at lunch, Gasper donned a satisfied smile, feeling accomplished in some way. Kiba and Keneiko once again looked the worse off. Both were moving slowly and looked to be in a constant struggle with themselves. Their training certainly seemed extremely hard, and Akino and Rias felt glad that they were mainly caster-type fighters rather than frontline fighters. Congratulations, everyone. You all trained well for the first day. I am happy with what I saw today from all of you. I have to say, the member who made the most progress would be Gasper. Rias, Akino, Kiba, and Keneiko all turned to look at Gasper with commendatory and happy looks. Gasper looked a little put off from all the attention he was being paid and quickly shrunk in on himself, trying to make himself look as small as possible, hoping the others would stop looking at him. Naruto looked at Gasper in exasperation but understanding. He still has some things to work on, but his control of time has greatly improved from no control. As well as all of you, there will always be a few things to work on. Kiba and Keneiko, as I said to you two before, your training will be constant, except when you're asleep, so be prepared to get used to this new normal. As for you, Rias and Akino, your training is mostly increased control and power of your respective magics, but remember Akino, start trying to implement some more diversity in your magic attacks. Relying on just one fighting style can only get you so far. That goes for all of you. Any questions about today or further training? Here, Naruto-san. How many times will we be training and how often? Rias asked the blonde-haired devil. Good question. We will be training here every weekend for a whole week until the Phoenix family or the Gremory family choose to rush the wedding, which they inevitably will. Rias' eyes narrowed at the thought of the wedding, and at the chance that her parents would push the wedding sooner than what was initially said. Naruto clapped his hands, but we'll get there soon enough. Until then, keep working hard and continue on the right track. Dinner will be served soon. After dinner, you may choose to do whatever you want. There are hot springs at the north, east, and west wings of the castle. along with a larger hot spring up on the mountain slope, closest to the north beach. Feel free to clean yourselves up and take a soak. I have some important business to attend to, so I will be off. I will see you guys later. And Naruto stood up and excused himself from the table, passing Keneiko by on his way out. Naruto stopped at Keneiko's side and kissed her on her cheek before bending down to her ear and whispering, "I will see you when I'm done. So have fun and relax." After Naruto spoke to Keneiko, he headed through the large double doors leading outside and disappeared. After Naruto left, a blue flame and a white mist seemed to manifest themselves in front of the group sitting at the table. Kiba, despite his body telling him otherwise, stood up and summoned a straight sword in a defensive guard position. Alongside him stood Akino, with arcs of electricity zapping around her, getting prepared for a fight. "Calm down, you two. We are not here to fight. We do live here too, you know." Out of the blue flame stood a flaming blue and black two-tailed cat, Matatabi, if they remembered correctly. The white mist-like cloud condensed and coalesced into a white five-tailed dolphin horse. That is correct. Besides, we were asked if we could help train some of you by Naruto. But first we wanted to meet our charges to get to know each other before we helped you. I was told to help the kitten with your Nekasha magic and techniques, and I believe Koko here was tasked with helping the blonde knight with his speed and agility. Koko only nodded to the blonde boy standing across from them. "Oh, well then. I guess you guys should start talking then. Akino and I will be going to the hot springs on the mountain. Feel free to join us, Keneiko-chan, you too, Matatabi-san." Rias spoke up, getting up from the table. She had already finished her meal when the two-tailed beasts had shown up. "I will be taking a bath as well, at the East Wing Hot Springs. Come on, Gasper." With that said, the group separated, males going to the East Wing Hot Springs, and females going to the hot springs on the mountain. Naruto stood at the top of a long flight of steps going up the mountain, heading to a large pantheon-esque building. Just like the similar building back down the mountain, there were sigils inscribed on the semicircular pediment of the protruding portico. The sigil on the far left depicted a slumbering dragon sleeping on a crescent moon with clouds in the foreground and background, and it was glowing a deep crimson red. The sigil on the far right was a muted gray color of what can only be described as a seven-headed dragon with the torso of some sort of primate with features of many other animals somewhat resembling a hydra, solely because of the 7 heads and being a dragon. The third and last sigil, in the middle of the pediment, was a glowing black and purple Ouroboros, the red dragon of dreams, the apocalyptic beast Trihexa, and Ophis the Ouroboros dragon of infinity respectively. The 3 engraved sigils signified the initial top 3 strongest existences of this universe. Naruto continued into the large main room of the building before he swiped his hand in the air, having the room glow and brighten with light emitting from seals around the room. He swiped his hand again in a downward motion and 6 intangible screens appeared around Naruto, and within each screen was a person or being. From left to right was Geb, Egyptian god of the earth, Yasaka, a 9-tailed fox yokai based on the ley lines of Kyoto, Pan, ancient Greek god of the wilds, Inari, Shinto god of foxes, fertility, agriculture, and worldly success, Amaterasu, Shinto goddess of the sun, and Jord, earth goddess of Norse theology. All present gods, goddesses, and other beings each have a particular longing for the survival of the earth and their world and are part of an organization meant to help preserve and nurture the nature of the earth and the life that lives on it. Hello once again, everyone. It seems that not everyone will be taking part in this meeting, Naruto noted, looking at the 6 screens in front of him, noticing the lack of 11 other screens. "It is nice to see you once again, Naruto-kun. And I suppose it is quite hard to get so many deities and beings to show up in one place because of events happening in each other's domain. Even if we're not really in the presence of each other. But I digress. What is the news that needs to be discussed?" A beautiful young woman with long black hair tied in a ponytail with a red bow, with purple eyes spoke up, placing a delicate hand on her left cheek, inquisitively tilting her head. The woman wore a red and white Miko outfit and had black wool ears atop her head. This woman was Amaterasu, the Shinto goddess of the sun. Well, it seems that some things might be speeding up here in the Underworld, potentially causing trouble for a lot of us, and has the possibility of undoing a lot of relations and plans we've been making, Naruto responded with a worried tone. "Do go on please, Naruto." A male with bronze skin and a long pastiche-like beard asked of Naruto. This man was Geb, the Egyptian god of the earth. Well, as you know, politics is a bitch. What if Naruto has yandere harem in high school DxD? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel, and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.